thought marriage would bring peace into my life, or at least, some kind of stability. But living with my husband's family, especially his sister, felt like walking barefoot across a field of glass. Her name is Kylie, and she had this nasty habit of calling people soft. Soft-hearted, soft-headed, soft-skinned, and she loved proving it by hitting you just hard enough to make you wonder if it was really a joke, or if she actually meant it. The first time she did it to me, we were sitting in the living room talking about our wedding photos. I was flipping through the album, smiling at a picture of me and my husband, Reed, when she walked behind the couch, smacked the back of my head with an open palm, and laughed like she was a child who'd just heard her own joke for the first time. "There's your love tap," she said. Everyone laughed except me and Reed. I remember blinking, trying to register what had just happened. Maybe she really was joking. Maybe I was being sensitive. Maybe her family thought this was normal. Reed shot her a look, the kind that siblings understand. The cut-it-out kind. But she just smiled back, innocent and smug. Later that night I asked him quietly, "Does she always hit people?" He sighed. "Not everyone. Mostly me. And now you, I guess. It's her thing. Ignore her. She'll get bored." But she didn't. She got worse. If you find this story good, please like and subscribe our channel. It's free for you but helps us a lot to keep sharing real stories like this. The more comfortable Kylie got around me, the more frequent the love taps became. The back of my head, my shoulder, my ribs, once even my cheek when she said, "You talk too softly, use your voice." And every time she'd hide behind that stupid word, "Relax, it's a love tap. It's just a joke. Don't be sensitive." She'd say it so loudly that other people would hear, laugh nervously and look away. "People like that don't joke. They test you." I told Reed again. "I don't like it," I said. "It's humiliating." He rubbed his forehead. "I know. I've warned her twice. She says you laugh with her." "I laugh because I'm uncomfortable." "I'll talk to her again," he promised. But deep inside, I could tell he didn't want to start a family war. And that was the problem. Kylie counted on that. Around this time, I'd started recording videos for my small baking page online. Nothing professional. Just simple cookie recipes, decorating tips, stuff like that. I'd set up a small tripod on the kitchen counter and film in short clips. One Saturday morning, I was filming a recipe and Kylie walked in. I paused the recording. She reached into the fridge, grabbed a soda, glanced at my camera setup, and before I could react, she flicked the back of my head hard. Hard enough that the camera picked up the sound. I gasped and put a hand over the spot. "Kylie, what the hell?" She giggled like it was cute. "Relax. It's my signature greeting." I felt the sting. Not just of the hit, of embarrassment, of frustration, of being treated like I was a toy she could poke whenever she wanted attention. "That's not funny," I said, voice trembling. She rolled her eyes. "God, you're such a baby." Reed walked in. "What's going on?" Kylie instantly switched her tone. "I just tapped her head. She's being dramatic." I stared at him, hoping, begging he'd defend me. Instead, he hesitated. "Kylie, stop doing that. Seriously." She shrugged, opened her soda and muttered under her breath, "Drama couple." I felt small, pathetic, invisible in my own kitchen. 2 days later, something happened that changed everything. I had been experimenting with angles for my recipe videos and wanted to see if setting the camera higher would capture better lighting. I put the small camera on top of a cabinet, pointed slightly downward, and filmed myself prepping ingredients. Halfway through measuring sugar, I heard footsteps behind me. Not slow ones, fast, purposeful ones. Before I even turned, her palm slammed into the back of my shoulder so hard it jolted me forward. I gasped loudly, grabbing the counter. "What is wrong with you?" I shouted. She laughed, deep, unbothered, delighted. "No need to be dramatic. It was just a tap. A love tap. You want me to wear gloves next time?" I felt tears burn behind my eyes. Not from the pain but from the humiliation. Again she did it. Again she got away with it. I looked up at the cabinet where the camera was still recording. For the first time I realized I had caught everything. Her walk, the hit, her smirk, my stumble, her mocking love tap line, her satisfaction, the whole thing. My breath caught in my chest. I didn't say anything to her. Not a word. Not when she walked away. Not when she smirked over her shoulder. Not when she said, "You're too easy to mess with." This time, she had no idea she'd just dug her own grave. That night, Reed was tired from work and collapsed onto the bed. I sat beside him and said, "I need you to watch something." He raised an eyebrow. "Is everything okay?" I didn't answer. I just opened the video. The screen lit up with the kitchen, me prepping ingredients, the empty background behind me. Then Kylie walked in, fast, calculated, not playful, not joking. We watched the moment she slammed her hand on my shoulder. We watched me jump. We watched her laugh. We watched her call me dramatic. When the video ended, Reed's face turned pale. He didn't speak for a solid 10 seconds. Then he whispered, "She hit you like that? That hard?" "Yes," I said. My voice broke. "Every time. And you thought I was exaggerating." His jaw tightened. His hands clenched into fists. "Why didn't you show me earlier?" "Because I didn't have proof," I said quietly. "And you didn't believe me." He looked like someone had punched him in the soul. "Where is she now?" he asked, standing up. "She's in her room." He walked out so fast I barely had time to follow. Kylie was lying on her bed scrolling her phone when he burst into the room. "What the hell is wrong with you?" he yelled. She flinched. What did I do now?" "You hit her," he said, holding up my phone with the video paused. "You hit my wife." Her face drained of color. "Reed, don't talk. Watch." He hit play. Kylie sat there silent, watching herself do the one thing she always called a joke. But now, it didn't look funny at all. It looked cruel, intentional, vicious. When the video ended, she swallowed. "Hard. It was just, don't say love tap," he snapped. "Don't you dare." She closed her mouth. Reed's voice shook with anger. "Do you have any idea how humiliating this has been for her? Do you understand how uncomfortable you've made our home?" "I didn't mean." "Yes, you did," he said. "You meant every single one of those hits." Kylie looked at me for the first time. Not with mockery, not with amusement, but with a flicker of something she'd never shown before. Fear. Because now there was proof. And she couldn't hide hide behind jokes anymore. And this was only the beginning of what that video would unleash. The morning after Reed confronted Kylie, the house felt like it was holding its breath. The kind of quiet that isn't peaceful, but waiting, watching. A quiet that makes walls feel thinner and footsteps sound heavier. I didn't sleep much. Reed didn't either. Every time I turned, he was already awake, thinking, worrying, replaying that video in his head. I could hear the guilt in the way he breathed. The kind of guilt that comes from realizing you overlooked something right in front of you. When I walked into the kitchen to make coffee, the stool where Kylie usually sat was empty. No loud humming, no sarcastic commentary, no morning softy. Just silence. Reed came in a few minutes later, hair messy, face tired. You okay? He asked. I'm fine, I lied. He leaned against the counter, rubbing the back of his neck. I don't know what she's going to do now. That was the sentence that kept circling in both our minds. Because people like Kylie, people who hide cruelty behind jokes, they almost never admit they were wrong. They bounce between victimhood and rage like it's a trampoline. She'll calm down, I murmured, though I wasn't sure. He shook his head. No, she looked different last night. Embarrassed. Cornered. Cornered animals lash out. I didn't say the words out loud, but we both felt the weight of them. Around noon, we heard the front door open. Firm steps. Familiar. Reed stiffened. Kylie walked in with her hair pulled back, eyes puffy like she'd been crying but pretending she hadn't. She paused when she saw me. Her gaze was sharp but not loud this time. Calculating. Reed stepped forward. Kylie, I'm not here to fight, she said quickly. She walked past him and sat at the kitchen table, hands clasped like she was rehearsing something. I want to talk, she said, looking at both of us. For real. Her tone was strange. Not over-the-top dramatic. Not defensive. Just flat. Reed and I sat across from her. She stared at her hands for a long moment before she finally spoke. Growing up, she said quietly, our mom used to smack us. For everything. Didn't matter if we spilled something or breathed too loud. She'd smack us and call it a love tap. My stomach dropped. Kylie took a shaky breath. When you grow up getting hit like that, it becomes normal. You think it's a joke because that's what they tell you it is. You internalize it. I swallowed hard. Was this an apology or an excuse? Reed leaned closer. Kai, she cut him off. I'm telling you this because I genuinely didn't think it was a big deal. I swear to God, Reed, I wasn't trying to hurt her. Not like that. Her voice cracked a little. Just a little. But enough that part of me softened. Part of me. Then why did you keep doing it after she said stop? Reed asked gently. Kylie looked up with this lost, confused expression. Because that's how we communicate. That's how our whole family jokes. I thought she would understand. I did try to understand, I said softly, but it didn't feel like a joke. It hurt. Her face tightened with something between shame and denial. I didn't know it hurt that much, she whispered. Watch the video again, Reed said. She shook her head. No, I can't. He reached for her hand. Kylie, you have to fix this. She stared at me, eyes shiny, and for the first time since I met her, I saw regret. Raw, human. I'm sorry, she said quietly. Not because I got caught. Not because he yelled at me. I'm sorry because I didn't understand it wasn't funny. And I should have. I felt my throat tighten. I didn't expect that sentence. Not from her. But before I could respond, she suddenly stood up. I need to get some air. She grabbed her bag and walked out. Reed sighed. At least she apologized. Do you believe her? I asked. He hesitated, and that hesitation told me everything. I want to, he said, but I know how she is. So did I. Apology or not, something still didn't feel right. That evening, I was prepping dinner when I noticed my tripod had been moved. Just slightly. Not enough for a normal person to notice, but I always kept it perfectly straight. I frowned. Reed, did you move my camera? No, he said from the living room. Why? A strange chill crawled up my spine. I looked toward the hallway. Kylie's door was open. Her shoes were gone. Her backpack was gone. She left, I said quietly. Where did she go? I don't know. He texted her. She didn't respond. Something was off. Bad off. The next morning, the universe gave us the answer. Not kindly. Reed woke up to a ping on his phone. Then 3, then 5, then 10. He sat up confused. Why is my phone blowing up? He checked the screen and froze. What is it? I asked. Slowly, he turned the phone toward me. It was a social media post. A public one. From Kylie. When your brother marries someone so dramatic she records everything and pretends to be a victim face with tears of joy. Attached was a cropped version of my kitchen video. Cropped, edited, manipulated. She cut out the part where she walked in aggressively. Cut out my visible flinch. Cut out her mocking words. Instead, she kept only the part where she touched my shoulder, but zoomed out so it looked lighter, more playful. The caption underneath made me feel like the wind had been knocked out of me. Gotta love when people act weak for attention. Rolling on the floor laughing, new sisters are fun. Reed's face turned red, anger boiling from somewhere deep. What the hell? He said under his breath. What the hell is she doing? Comments were already flooding in. Looks like a joke. Yours is so sensitive. Oh, drama much. She really cried over that? My hands trembled. She made me look insane. No, she made herself look pathetic, Reed said, grabbing his keys. I'm going to her place. Reed. No, his voice shook. I'm ending this. She crossed a line she can't ever cross again. But before he reached the door, his phone pinged again. A new message. From Kylie's number. He opened it. His face went cold. What is it? I whispered. He handed me the phone. It was a screenshot of her holding something. My memory card. The one from my camera. The one with every raw, unedited clip on it. And under it, a message. If you think that video was bad, wait until I show everyone the rest. Winking face. I felt my stomach drop. She hadn't just tried to embarrass me. She'd stolen proof. Manipulated it. Weaponized it. This wasn't apology. This wasn't guilt. This was retaliation. And the worst part? I had no idea what else she took. What else she had. Or what she planned to do next. But one thing was clear. This wasn't just about hitting me anymore. This was war. Reed didn't even bother putting on shoes properly. He just shoved his feet halfway inside and bolted sprinted toward the front door. I grabbed his arm before he could yank it open. Stop, just wait, I said. His chest rose and felt like he was trying to calm himself but failing miserably. She stole your memory card. She's posting edited videos. She's making you look like a liar. I know, I whispered, but going over there angry won't fix it. His jaw flexed. She can't keep doing this. I'm not saying she can, I said, but you need to go with a clear head. She'll twist anything you say if she feels attacked. He swallowed hard, nodding slowly. You're right, I can't believe she'd stoop this low. And that realization hurt more than the hits ever did. People like Kylie don't change. They evolve their tactics. Physical humiliation wasn't enough anymore. She wanted public humiliation. She wanted chaos. She wanted power. Let me handle this, I said softly. She won't talk to you right now without feeling cornered, but she'll talk to me. No, Reed said quickly. She'll tear into you. She already did. He looked down, guilt written across every line in his face. But I stepped closer, touched his arm lightly. Trust me. After a long moment, he exhaled. Fine, but I'm coming with you. I'm not letting you go alone. I nodded, and together we walked out the door. Kylie lived in an apartment 10 minutes away. The building was quiet, with peeling paint and overgrown shrubs. Nothing like the dramatic energy she carried. Reed knocked. No answer. He knocked again harder. Still nothing. He was about to bang on the door a third time when it cracked open. Kylie stood there wearing an oversized hoodie, eyes swollen, hair messy. She looked like she hadn't slept, or like she'd been crying for hours. But the moment she saw me, her expression hardened into something sharp and defensive. What do you want? She muttered. Reed held up his phone. Delete the post. Now. She smirked at him, leaning her shoulder against the door frame. Why, it's just a joke, right? Isn't that what this whole thing is about? Jokes and taps and pretending to be offended. It's harassment, I said calmly, and you know it. Her eyes flicked to mine, irritation flashing. You ruined my relationship with my own brother. You embarrassed me in my own home. You played the victim and made him think I was some monster. If you didn't want to look like a monster, Reed said, you shouldn't have acted like one. The words hit her hard. Her nostrils flared. Give me a break. You're so dramatic. Both of you. Where's her memory card? Reed demanded. Her smile stretched thin. Safe. Give it back, he said. No. Something snapped inside me, not anger, not fear. Something colder. Kylie, I said softly, you don't want to do this. She scoffed. Do what? Protect myself. You're turning everyone against me. You're doing that to yourself, I said, but you can stop. She shook her head, voice trembling. You don't understand. I'm not the villain. You're just fragile. I stepped closer. No, I whispered. I'm just done. Her eyes widened just a flicker, but it was enough. She stepped back. Get out. But Reed put his foot in the doorway before she could slam it. Kylie, he said, voice low and steady, if you don't delete the video and return the memory card, I'm calling the police. Her face paled. She wasn't expecting that. What? You wouldn't do that. I would, he said. This is digital harassment, defamation, and theft. I'm not letting you ruin my wife's life because your pride is hurt. She swallowed, panic flashing in her eyes. But then, true to her nature, she covered it up with sarcasm. You really are choosing her over your own blood, she whispered. I'm choosing right over wrong, he replied. Silence. Long, heavy silence. Then she stepped back into her apartment. Fine, come in. I exchanged a glance with Reed and we followed, though he stayed close to me, wary. Her apartment looked like chaos personified. Blankets everywhere, half-empty mugs, clothes on the floor. In the corner sat her laptop, open, tabs everywhere, including her social media page. She walked to her desk, grabbed something small from a drawer and held it up. My memory card. But she didn't hand it over. Instead, she waved it between her fingers. You want this? Yes, Reed said. Her eyes flicked to me. Does she deserve it? The way she said she felt like venom. Kylie, Reed warned, stop playing games. She looked at the memory card again, flipping it over in her fingers. I watched everything, she murmured. Every clip. Every moment she wasn't looking at the camera. Every time she sighed or rolled her eyes or acted annoyed. I frowned. Acted annoyed at what? You, she said coldly. At me, Reed. At this house. At everything. I never. Don't lie, she snapped. You hated me. You were just better at hiding it. I took a slow breath. I didn't hate you. I was scared of you. Those words stunned her. She blinked. Twice. But then she laughed. Short, brittle, defensive. Oh please. You're not scared. You're calculating. Manipulative. Reed stepped in front of me. Give it back. Now. Something flickered across her face. Fear? Anger? Hate? Then suddenly she tightened her grip on the memory card, squeezed, and snapped it in half. Reed inhaled sharply. Kylie. She threw the broken pieces on the floor like they were crumbs and she was done eating. Now you have nothing, she said in a shaking whisper. No video. No proof. Nothing to make me look bad anymore. I felt the air drain out of my lungs. Reed stared at her, horrified. Why would you do that? She wiped a tear angrily. Because I'm tired of being the villain in everyone's story. I'm tired of being judged for everything I do. You did this to yourself, he yelled. No, she screamed, voice cracking. You chose her over family. You betrayed me. She pointed at me with a trembling finger. She took you away. Reed shook his head. This isn't about choosing anyone. This is about your behavior. You're lying, she cried. You always take her side now. I take the side of the truth, he said. Her breathing was frantic, like every insecurity she'd buried for years was climbing out of her chest at once. Then her voice softened, almost pleading. Reed, I'm your sister, and I'm her husband, he replied quietly, and I will protect her, even from you. Something in Kylie broke at that moment. She sat down on her bed, clutching her chest, whispering something too soft to understand. I looked at the broken memory card on the floor. My evidence, my safety net, shattered. But something strange happened inside me. I didn't panic. I didn't cry. I didn't feel helpless. Instead, I felt calm, steady, clear, because I suddenly understood something Kylie didn't. Breaking the memory card didn't erase the truth, and it didn't erase every camera in the house. She had no idea what else was recorded, what else existed, what else she had just escalated herself into. And while she thought she'd won, she had no idea the worst was yet to come. Not because of me, not because of Reed, but because the house itself had seen more than she ever realized. And soon all of it was going to come out. The next morning felt strangely muted, like the house itself was holding its breath. I woke up earlier than usual, partly because I barely slept and partly because some quiet instinct in me wanted to check the living room before anyone else got the chance. The hidden camera light was still off, which meant everything had recorded normally through the night. I took a second to breathe that in. Proof existed. Actual, undeniable proof. But having evidence and being ready to use it were two different things, and I still wasn't sure how far this whole thing would go. I heard footsteps upstairs. Light, quick ones. Not Marcus. Not big enough. That was her. Tina. I hated how my stomach tightened just hearing her move around the house. It used to be the kind of house where family laughing felt warm. Now it felt like walking through a hallway where you knew someone had left mousetraps, but you couldn't see them yet. I poured myself coffee, trying to calm my shaking hands before she walked into the kitchen. She must have smelled the coffee brewing because she floated in with that overly energetic morning voice she used on days she wanted to seem innocent. "Oh hey, you're up early," she said as she opened the fridge, pretending not to notice I wouldn't look at her. "Couldn't sleep," I answered. She pulled out a yogurt, spun her spoon dramatically, then leaned against the counter, giving me a look like she'd done nothing wrong in her entire life. "You know, you were quiet last night," she said casually. "You okay?" I lifted my eyes at her slowly, searching her face for even a flicker of guilt or awareness. "Nothing." She smiled like she hadn't shoved her knuckles into the back of my head, laughed about it, then called me sensitive. I took a sip of coffee. "I'm fine." She shrugged and turned, but before she walked away she did that thing. Light, quick, a hand popping out to tap the back of my head. But this time, I didn't flinch. I didn't freeze. I didn't pretend it didn't hurt. I stood up, calm but firm. "Don't touch me." Her eyebrows shot up like I just slapped her. "Whoa, chill." It was a love tap. "Don't be dramatic." I wanted so badly to tell her she was being recorded right now, that every single love tap had been caught from two different angles. But it was too early. Not yet. Instead, I grabbed my mug and walked out, not giving her the reaction she wanted, the win she'd been collecting for months. He hated that. Minutes later, I heard her stomping upstairs, muttering something under her breath about pathetic attitudes. Fine, let her get annoyed. It only made what was coming more inevitable. Around noon, Marcus got home early from his shift. He kissed the top of my head, noticing how rigid I was. "Rough morning?" he asked. I swallowed. "She's getting worse." He sighed, rubbing my back lightly. "I'm sorry. I'm going to talk to her again." "Talking doesn't work," I said, the tension spilling out. "She doesn't stop." Right then, before he could answer, Sienna walked in like she'd been summoned. "Talking about me again?" she said as she leaned on the doorway. Her tone reminded me of middle school bullies. Fake confidence built on fear of being exposed. Marcus straightened. "We're talking about boundaries. You can't keep." "Oh my god," she groaned dramatically. The tapping again. "Are you serious?" "It's just a joke." She takes everything personally. "It's not a joke," I shot back. "You've hit me more than once. You think because you laugh after it doesn't count." Her eyes narrowed. "Oh please, if I actually hit you you'd know it." It was like the air left the room. She said it with this pride in her voice, like she wanted me to feel small. Like she wanted Marcus to see me as weak. Marcus stiffened. "Did you just say that to my wife?" Sienna rolled her eyes and smirked. "You're both so soft it's unbelievable." And then she did it again, right in front of Marcus. She reached out and flicked the back of my head with two fingers, but harder this time, like she wanted to prove she could. The sound echoed in the kitchen. My scalp stung. Marcus exploded. "What the hell is wrong with you?" "What?" she yelled defensively. "It was a joke." "That's not a joke," he barked. "You're putting your hands on her. You're not 12. She laughed. Actually laughed. "Oh my god, she's turning you against your own family. You can't even see it." I didn't cry. I didn't yell. I didn't go quiet. I just stared at her, because everything she did had just been caught on camera. The camera facing the kitchen had been rolling the whole time. It was small enough you'd never notice unless you already knew where to look, and she had no clue it was even there. She stomped away again, slamming the guest room door so hard a picture frame rattled on the wall. Marcus turned to me, guilt twisting through his face. "I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I didn't think she'd actually." "I know," I whispered. I placed my hand over his. "But we're done letting her lie." That afternoon she didn't come out of her room. No snide comments. No weird laughs. No fake sweetness. Nothing. Which only meant one thing. She was planning her next move. And she didn't disappoint. Around dinner time she marched downstairs with her phone in her hand. Face red, eyes blazing. "I'm calling Mom," she snapped. Marcus held up his hand. "No, you're not pulling her into this." "Oh, I absolutely am," she shot back. "I'm not going to let you two make me out to be some abuser." I felt heat crawl up my neck. "Then stop doing things that make you look like one." She spun toward me. "You want to play victim so bad, don't you?" Marcus stepped between us. Enough. But she wasn't done. "You know what? Let's call your mom too," she hissed at me. "Let's show her what a fragile, manipulative." "Say one more thing," Marcus said calmly, dangerously, "and you're out of this house tonight." Silence. Absolute silence. She wasn't used to Marcus raising his voice, or setting boundaries. It stunned her long enough that she backed away, lips curled but eyes darting around like she wasn't as confident as she wanted to look. She went upstairs again, slammed the door again. But this time when her footsteps faded, Marcus turned to me and exhaled shakily. "We need a plan." "We already have one," I said. I picked up the small hidden camera from where it had been resting behind the decorative vase. I held it in my hand, letting the weight of the moment settle in. "Everything is recorded." Marcus stared at it, then stared at me. "She's finished," he whispered. "Not yet, but soon." So soon, and for the first time in months, I finally felt like I wasn't the one sitting powerless in this house. I was the one holding the truth. And truth doesn't lose. The next morning the house felt different. Not quieter, not peaceful, but like something had shifted in the air. Sienna didn't appear immediately at breakfast, which was unusual. Normally, she would stroll in with that fake energy, tossing a joke or a love tap into the mix before anyone else could speak. Today, silence ruled, and I noticed Marcus kept glancing toward the staircase, his jaw tight, fists loosely clenched. I tried to sip my coffee casually, but it was impossible to ignore the tension. We both knew she was planning her next move. People like her always do. It's like they thrive on control, and when control slips, panic, or worse, aggression replaces it. Do you think she's going to come down? I asked quietly, trying not to draw attention to my nerves. Marcus ran a hand through his hair. He has to, eventually, but she doesn't like to show up until she's ready to dictate terms. I didn't respond. Instead, I thought about the camera footage. Every hit, every smirk, every moment of mockery was caught. It wasn't just proof, it was leverage. And for the first time I felt a surge of power. The kind of power that comes from knowing the truth, not from raising your voice or retaliating in anger. I glanced toward the stairs again. Her footsteps approached, but they were slower, measured, different than usual. She wasn't rushing in for a spectacle. She wanted this to be calculated. When she entered the kitchen, her eyes were sharp, red-rimmed but sharp. Her hair was messier than normal, strands falling across her face, giving her the faint aura of someone trying to look composed while simmering with rage. "Oh," she said lightly, voice deceptively calm. "You two are still alive. How cute." Marcus stepped forward. Enough. No games. Her lips curled into that faint smirk she always wore when she thought she had an upper hand. "No games. I wasn't playing." "You were," I said softly, calmly. "And you lost." Her eyebrows lifted. "Excuse me." I placed the small hidden camera on the counter between us. The weight of the device seemed heavier than it should. "Everything," I said. "Every single moment. Every hit. Every laugh. Every word. It's all recorded." For the first time I saw her face falter. Just for a second, almost imperceptibly. The confidence wavered. Marcus's voice broke the silence. "Sienna, you can't keep doing this. Not to her, not to anyone." "Keep doing what?" she asked, eyes narrowing. "She's making a mountain out of a molehill." "I didn't hurt her." "You did," I said. "And now it's documented. You don't get to rewrite what happened." She laughed, then short, almost bitter. "You think that little camera makes a difference? You think proof like that scares me?" I held her gaze. "It doesn't scare me. It's not about fear. It's about reality." Marcus's jaw tightened. "She needs to own up, Sienna. Enough is enough." She stared at him, suddenly incredulous, as if he had grown horns overnight. "You're choosing her over me? Your own family?" "No," he said firmly. "I'm choosing right over wrong." Her lips trembled. Her voice softened slightly, almost pleading. "Marcus, you don't understand. I'm your sister." You're my sister," he interrupted, voice low but steady. "And I love you. But I love her too, and I won't let you hurt her. Not physically, not emotionally, not digitally. You can either face the consequences of your actions, or you can keep digging a hole that will only get deeper." Her eyes flicked to me, then back to the camera. For the first time, the mask of bravado slipped completely. A small shake ran through her hands. She knew she had no escape. I stepped closer, my voice calm, deliberate. "You can stop this. You can come clean. Return the memory card. Delete any edited videos. Apologize genuinely. That's it. That's the only way you regain any control over this." She blinked. Her body stiffened. Then slowly she lowered her gaze. I saw a flicker of something human. Fear, guilt, maybe even shame. But just as quickly she snapped her head up, trying to reclaim the persona she always hid behind. "And if I don't? You'll have to deal with the consequences," Marcus said. "Legal, familial, and social. You're already close to burning every bridge in this house." Her lips parted as if to argue, then snapped shut. Her chest rose and fell rapidly. She wanted to storm out, to scream, to hit something, but she couldn't. Not with both of us standing there, calm, resolute, and backed by irrefutable proof. Finally, she slumped into a chair, her hands gripping her knees. Her voice was low, almost trembling. Fine. I'll delete it. I'll return the card." I waited. Let her feel the weight of admitting defeat. "You will, right now." She nodded, slowly, cautiously. She dug into her pocket, pulled out the memory card, and placed it on the counter like it was a bomb ready to explode. Marcus picked it up carefully, inspected it, then set it aside. "You're not off the hook," I said softly, still calm. "Not until you understand why this is unacceptable. Not until you know what this kind of behavior does to someone's life." Tears formed in her eyes, unguarded this time. She wasn't hiding behind sarcasm or bravado. She was raw, real, fragile. And I realized something. For the first time, she might actually get it. The magnitude of the chaos she created had finally reached her. Marcus placed a firm hand on her shoulder. "We're not trying to destroy you, but actions have consequences. You need to understand that." She nodded again, swallowing hard. I do." I stepped back and let silence fill the kitchen. The tension didn't evaporate immediately. It lingered, thick and almost palpable, but something had shifted. Something fundamental. For the first time since this ordeal started, the power wasn't in her hands anymore. We spent the next hour setting rules. No more love taps, no more comments, no more editing or posting private footage. She agreed, reluctantly, but agreed nonetheless. Marcus made it clear that if she ever broke the rules again, there would be no second chance. By the time she returned to her room, the sun had dipped lower in the sky. Shadows filled the corners of the house, but they didn't feel threatening anymore. The house was quieter, yes, but not tense. Calm, steady, safe. I looked at Marcus, feeling a wave of relief wash over me. "Thank you," I whispered. He smiled faintly. "We did what needed to be done, and we did it together." I nodded, watching the last bit of sunlight flicker through the window. I realized then how much weight had been lifted, not just from me but from all of us. We had faced the chaos, confronted it, and finally reclaimed our space. And even though Sienna's behavior had left scars, both visible and invisible, something profound had shifted. Control had returned to the right hands. Justice, quiet but undeniable, had been served. For now, because in a house like ours, with a family like ours, peace is fragile, can be broken with a single careless move. And while Sienna had been forced to recognize the truth today, I knew her pride and cunning wouldn't vanish overnight. Still standing there in the dimming light, I allowed myself a moment to breathe, to feel that calm pulse of victory. Not loud, not dramatic, not gloating, just quiet and sure. And for the first time in months, I believed that maybe, finally, the nightmare was ending. But I also knew deep down, even as I took that slow, steady breath, that some storms leave aftershocks. And some people, even when cornered, only wait for the perfect moment to strike back. The following morning, the house felt different again. Not quiet, not peaceful, but lighter, like the air itself had shifted just slightly. I still felt the remnants of tension lingering in the corners, but there was an underlying sense of control returning. Sienna didn't appear for breakfast, and for the first time in weeks, I didn't dread hearing her voice. Marcus and I sat together at the table, silently drinking coffee. Neither of us needed to speak. The weight of what had happened the day before hung between us. The memory card was back, the posts deleted, and Sienna had promised, reluctantly but she had promised, to change her behavior. But promises didn't erase the months of torment she had caused. I could still feel the sting of her hands on my head, the humiliation of her public mockery, the gnawing anxiety of waiting for the next prank, the next jab. And deep down, I knew better than to trust her entirely. By mid-morning, I decided to check the camera footage one more time. Not because I didn't trust Marcus, not because I doubted the truth, but because I needed to see it myself. I needed to own it. Every moment played back with brutal clarity. Every love tap, every smirk, every whispered insult. There it all was. And then I saw something I hadn't expected. In the background of one clip, barely noticeable, Sienna had tried to sneak another prank on me while I was making tea. She'd reached for a pan of hot water, intending to spill it, but Marcus had walked in just in time to stop her. My stomach dropped. She hadn't just been playful or silly. She had been planning something far more dangerous. I showed the clip to Marcus immediately. He leaned back, jaw tight. I didn't know she went that far. I didn't either, I said quietly. Until now. We both realized something crucial in that moment. Her apologies and promises were empty if she still harbored the same mindset. She had the capacity to escalate at any moment. We need to make sure she can't do this again, Marcus said, his voice steady but firm. Not to you, not to anyone in this house. I nodded. Agreed. But how? He ran a hand through his hair, pacing the living room. Boundaries are one thing, but proof is another. Cameras are already in place. The memory card is back. But if she tries anything, we need a plan to stop her immediately. I swallowed hard. And if she fights it, or tries to lie again? Marcus's eyes hardened. Then we have to show her the truth, loud and clear. No excuses. The idea of confrontation made my heart race, but I also felt a strange calm. I wasn't scared anymore. Months of being under her thumb had taught me something. Power doesn't come from fear. Power comes from preparation and clarity. That afternoon, I stayed in the kitchen while Marcus ran errands. Sienna came down from her room, moving quietly, cautiously. She hovered near the living room doorway, glancing at me with that familiar blend of defensiveness and calculated charm. I've been thinking, she said slowly. Maybe I overreacted yesterday. I looked at her steadily. Maybe. But your actions weren't just yesterday. This has been a pattern. She flushed slightly. I didn't mean to make things so bad. I didn't answer. I let the weight of my silence speak. I care about Marcus, she continued. And I want to feel like I still matter to him. I leaned against the counter, arms crossed. You care about him by hitting me? By manipulating the truth. Her face twisted, guilt mingling with frustration. I don't know. I feel like I'm losing him. You're not losing him, I said calmly. You lost his respect when you hurt me repeatedly. The quiet hung in the air. For the first time I saw her hesitate, really hesitate. She wanted to argue, to deflect, to act the same way she always did, but something was stopping her. That evening Marcus returned. I told him about her quiet behavior during the day. He raised an eyebrow. Maybe she's learning. Maybe, I replied cautiously. Or maybe she's planning the next move. People like her don't stop easily. We ate dinner in silence, and for a moment it felt almost normal. Almost like a family. But the underlying tension was still there. I could feel it in every glance, every subtle movement. Later Marcus and I sat on the couch, going over the camera footage again. We checked every corner of the house, ensuring no blind spots. Every hallway, every room, every potential hiding spot, covered. This way, Marcus said, if she tries anything again we'll know immediately. No surprises. I nodded. Good. As after everything. I won't be caught off guard again. That night Sienna came into the living room. She was quiet, more subdued than usual. She sat across from us, hands folded, avoiding eye contact. I wanted to apologize, she said softly. Not just for hitting but for everything. I've been selfish. I didn't move. I waited. Marcus's jaw tightened. Do you understand what you did? Her voice trembled slightly. I think so. I hurt you. And I hurt the trust in this house. I felt something shift inside me. He sounded sincere, even vulnerable. But I also knew better than to fully trust words without actions. Words are easy, I said softly. Actions are what matter. Do you understand? She nodded. Yes. I'll do better. Marcus and I exchanged a glance. It was tentative, fragile, but it was a start. The next day I noticed small changes. She didn't taunt me in the hallway. She didn't sneak up behind me. She didn't try to joke her way into power. She was quiet, careful, watching, calculating, but not in a threatening way. And for the first time I realized something important. Sometimes the best revenge isn't anger or retaliation. It's control. Calm, deliberate control. Proof. Boundaries. And the certainty that the truth always has a way of coming out. I looked at Marcus and smiled faintly. He squeezed my hand. The storm hadn't fully passed. I knew that. Sienna's personality didn't change overnight. But the house was safe for now, and I finally felt like I had a foothold in reclaiming my space, my peace, my life. And for now, that was enough. The house was quiet that evening, but it wasn't the quiet that comes from fear or tension. It was a calm quiet, deliberate and steady, like the kind that only comes after a storm has passed. I sat on the couch sipping tea, letting the warmth seep into my hands and slowly into my chest. For the first time in months I could breathe without that constant weight pressing down on me. Marcus was beside me, scrolling through his phone, occasionally glancing up to check if I was okay. We didn't speak much. Words weren't necessary. The silence itself was enough, a testament to the chaos that had been resolved. Or at least contained. Sienna was upstairs. Her footsteps were careful, measured, quieter than usual. I knew she was thinking, probably plotting in her own way, but she had learned something. She had felt the weight of accountability for the first time. And maybe, just maybe, it had changed something inside her. I reflected on everything that had happened. Months of small, calculated humiliation, the way she made me feel powerless in my own home, the constant anxiety of waiting for the next joke. All of it had led to this moment, a reckoning of sorts. And as much as the process had been painful, I realized something crucial. I had grown stronger. Not just stronger, but wiser. I could handle Sienna now. I could confront her without fear, without hesitation. I had proof, yes, but more importantly, I had boundaries. I had Marcus by my side, but I also had myself. The part of me that refused to be silenced, that refused to shrink, that refused to let someone else define my worth. The memory card, now safely tucked away, was more than just evidence. It was a symbol. A reminder that truth exists, even when people try to twist it. That justice doesn't always need shouting or violence. Sometimes, it just needs persistence, clarity, and courage. I remembered how terrified I had felt when Sienna first crossed that line. How hopeless and small I had felt when she mocked me in front of Marcus. How angry I had been when she tried to manipulate every situation, every conversation, every perception. But through all that fear and frustration, I had learned to watch, to wait, and to act strategically. And that, I realized, was the difference between being a victim and being someone who could take control of their life. I looked around the living room, taking in the soft glow of the lamps, the slight mess of the day's life, the ordinary calm of a home that had survived chaos. I thought about the hidden camera, the videos, the confrontations, and the moments of fear, and I smiled faintly. Because in the end, Sienna had been forced to see herself clearly, not through her own excuses or manipulations, but through the reflection of her actions. She had to confront the consequences of her behavior. She had to face the reality that what she did wasn't just playful or harmless. It was damaging. And while I had hoped for growth out of compassion, I also knew that sometimes growth comes only when the stakes are high, when the truth is undeniable. Marcus turned to me then, a small smile tugging at his lips. "You okay?" he asked quietly. I nodded, feeling a calm certainty I hadn't felt in a long time. "Yes. More than okay." He reached over and squeezed my hand. "We got through it." "Yes," I whispered. "We did." Later, when the house settled into night, I went upstairs to check on Sienna. She was sitting on the edge of her bed, staring at the wall, quiet. She didn't look up when I entered. She didn't try to justify herself. She didn't make excuses. For the first time she seemed small, not defiant, not threatening, just human. I realized then that the story hadn't just been about humiliation or physical pain or even fear. It had been about truth and accountability and the quiet power of standing firm. And while I couldn't control whether Sienna would fully change, I knew I had reclaimed my life. I didn't have to be afraid of her anymore. I didn't have to feel powerless. I didn't have to let someone else define my reality. I took a deep breath and left her room, letting the quiet of the night wash over me. The house felt lighter. The air felt steady. And for the first time in a long time I felt safe, not just physically but emotionally. The storm had passed. The battle had been won. And while I knew life would always have its challenges, its difficult people, its tests of patience and strength, I also knew that I had grown into someone who could face them. I returned to the living room, Marcus already asleep on the couch, a blanket draped over him. I sat beside him, watching the soft glow of the lamps, feeling the slow, steady pulse of a home that had endured chaos and come out stronger. For a moment, I allowed myself to simply exist. Quietly, peacefully, confidently. I didn't need to relive the fear. I didn't need to dwell on the past. The house was ours. Our space. Our safety. And that was enough. Because sometimes the greatest victories aren't loud. They're quiet. They're subtle. They're the moments when you finally realize you are no longer afraid. You're no longer small. And the people who tried to hurt you no longer have that power. Sienna would learn that, eventually. Or maybe she wouldn't. It didn't matter anymore. I had learned it. I had reclaimed my peace. I had reclaimed my life. And that was the ending I needed. Not dramatic, not loud, not revengeful, but calm, steady, and absolute. The house finally felt like home again.